Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. And as we get ready for game day tomorrow, we have a 1 o'clock game against the Detroit Lions. AT&T Stadium. And it's going to be a matchup of two 1-2 teams trying to better their record and get out of a losing slump. Now, the Lions did win last week against the Patriots, and it's funny because you look at their game and you're like, okay, every time a team beats the Patriots, they're on their high horse. They're like, all right, they're coming in, they're reeling. They're like, all right, how are we going to, they have momentum going into the next week because everybody knows that the Patriots have been the team to beat. Now, you look at the Lions and their ability to beat the Patriots. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Lions at all, but I will say that because their coach, Matt Patricia, has been on that staff with the Patriots since 2004, you know, having multiple positions in there and being there literally through Tom Brady's whole daggone career for the most part. Like, you know Tom Brady, you know his weaknesses, you know his strengths, you know what he's going to do, and you know how to stop that offense. So I kind of chalk that up with that win as more so of Matt Patricia just knowing what to do with the Patriots. Now, again, this has been a screwy year. You have teams that have been dominating for years that are now losing games. You have teams that ain't won in a long time, i.e. the Browns, finally winning games. But that's the way the NFL is any given Sunday. And me, I've never been one to bet on games because of that reason, because I like to keep my money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's neither here nor there. Now, with this matchup this week with the Cowboys, now, I will say that some of the players on the Lions defense that kind of want to stay away from their DB Slay. Slay is a very good cover guy. You got to watch him because he's got a knack for getting around that ball. And, you know, we don't need Dak throwing any more interceptions. I look at last week's interceptions and I'm like, both of them were off of some fluky plays, but it is what it is. You know, you got to live and die with it. Now, Dak clearly doesn't like throwing interceptions because when his mom was living before she passed, she used to get mad at him when he threw interceptions. So I think a lot of the reason why he's afraid to throw the ball in certain situations and these tight windows is because he's afraid to throw interceptions. But you can't have that mindset, because you'll fail as a quarterback if you have that mindset in the league, because sometimes you got a gunsling. You look at what Tony Romo did. You look at the type of quarterback Aaron Rodgers is. You look at the type of quarterback even Brett Favre was. Brett Favre threw 1 million interceptions. So did Danny White back in the day. So you look at these guys, they threw these interceptions because they're gunslingers. They went out there and made plays, because a lot of the times you can't just sit back and let your defense dictate your offense. You got to go out there and you got to get it done, and that's the bottom line. So just a couple of stats for this game, just player comparison. So you look at, like I said, both teams are coming into this game 1-2. So the team is needed on both sides of the ball at this point. Dak Prescott has 54 completions, 88 attempts, 498 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And those 2 touchdowns are to Tavon Austin. And period. That's terrible. You got to get more production out of your offense in 3 games. You look at that compared to Matt Stafford. Now, Matt Stafford is a gunslinger. He would throw the ball downfield. Yes. I think, was it their first game? I think it was. He threw 4 interceptions. I look at it like this. Don't gun for him to be throwing interceptions like that. Now, he will give you some if you fluster him. But they have a really good offensive line, too. And he gets that ball out quick. He's almost like Eli Manning. You gotta be real disciplined to get this guy down, because he gets that ball out really quick. And I think he's only been sacked 3 times this season. And and you look at some of the defense they played. They didn't play terrible defenses either. So you got to factor that in too. So our defense needs to stay disciplined and stay stout to get these turnovers and stuff like that. Now, granted, he might throw you a pick here and there because of the simple fact that he is a gunslinger. But again, he will kill you as well. He will get that ball downfield for a touchdown, and you got to be careful with that because you don't need a situation where it's blown coverage and all of a sudden you got a 56-yard receiving touchdown to a wide receiver because didn't nobody know what they were doing. So you look at his stats. He has 88 completions, 135 attempts, 895 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Now, he literally has a little over double amount of production that Dak Prescott has this season. And that's a little crazy. That's a little embarrassing. It really is. Now, we got to find some offensive production somewhere. You know, Linehan said in the interview this week that he wants to open up the playbook. And I heard a comment from one of the subscribers. I forget which one it was, but I just read it and laughed. Somebody was like, I think it was Kathy. I'm not sure. She was like, what did she say? Oh, how you gonna open a playbook when there's nothing to open or when there's nothing there or something like that? I just laughed. I just chuckled. I look at it like this. They have plays. They do. They have an extensive playbook, but they just don't, for whatever reason, they don't open that thing up and use it like they should. Now, I look at it like this. Don't handcuff Dak. If we want to put Dak to blame, you got to allow him to make that mistakes. You got to allow him to don't hold his hand. Let him do his thing. This is his 3rd year. He's an NFL quarterback. It is what it is. You got to live and die with it. So I heard somebody say and give some type of, somebody had a notion that the team is trying to sabotage Dak so they don't have to pay him after next year. Now, I'm not going to take anything. I'll take anything into account because you kind of got to look at all the avenues. Like, I try not to go too far into just assuming things like that. But when you think about it, it's like it almost seems like they're trying to get him to fail. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know, but the production he had from his rookie year to this year is like night and day because he wasn't even this bad last year. So, you know, for you to digress like that, it's interesting. Now, the whole notion of not having a number 1 wide receiver and everybody saying that Dez Bryant was the issue with this team. Now, I was the one that advocated that said I always thought that Dez Bryant wasn't the problem. I knew from looking at them that it was clear that him and Dak didn't have chemistry. Dak didn't know how to throw the ball to where Dez likes to get it. Now, you look at when Tony Romo threw him the ball, it was years of backyard football watching them play. Because, again, it took Tony Romo 2 years with Dez himself to learn Dez and where to throw the ball to. You got Dez is a high pointer. You got to high point the ball with Dez. You got to put it in a place where the DBs cannot get it. Oh, yeah, shout out to my co-star, Water. Because it's essential to life. And I support it all day, every day. So, when you look at how we've been playing these games, and we almost been like one-dimensional. And the way that teams are playing the Cowboys, they're gunning for them to, okay, well, try to beat us with your favorite player or your best player, because you're not going to be able to do that because we're going to stop this and we're not going to allow you to do this. And we know that you haven't done this. So until you prove to us that you can do said thing, we're going to stop you. And that's how they got the Giants on their heels, because they randomly did some things they hadn't done. Now, I don't understand why they don't continue to do that. You have a fullback on this team. You have a fullback, Jameis Olawale, that I feel like he had like, I think, 2 or 3 offensive snaps last game. And that can't happen. You cannot You cannot do that. Now, Jameis Owale is not Keith Smith. He's not that guy. He's not that glass eater that's just gonna go in there and just shut things down like that and just blow the linebacker off the line so you're running back and get space. But I think that Jameis is a better all-around fullback. But they don't use him. You can use him in plays too. You could give him the ball as well. I did a breakdown on him in the offseason when we first got him back on the team, you know, just talking about all the things that he can do. And again, they're not utilizing these players to their strengths, especially Dak. And it's just a shame because I know that this team can do better, but for whatever reason, it's stalemated. And I think that you look at the production that this team is having right now, and it's not adding up. You got players that are like already frustrated on this offense. You got Cole Beasley seeming like he's throwing shade. I don't know. I can't really decipher it. I hate to assume things if I don't really know. But, you know, by him saying things like, hey, we were open, or just seems like he's throwing like little small shades at Dak. You look at Allen Hurns. Allen Hurns seems like he's frustrated with his snap count, which he should. I mean, you're paying me $6 million, and I'm only getting one catch a game. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to get these wide receivers more involved. They have to figure out what core players they're going to keep and go with that. Because you keep having these guys flip-flopping around, Dak's not going to have anybody where he can have that cohesion with, and somebody that he can throw the ball to successfully catch it. So I think that a lot of the problems is because of that reason there. Now, we don't know what's going on with Terrence Williams right now. So it looks like, in my opinion, I think they need to go ahead and make Bryce Butler active. Terrence Williams wasn't at practice, so I assume that maybe it has something to do. They say it's personal. The team has to say stuff like that. But I wonder if it's a pending suspension is the reason why he wasn't there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I want to see the actual inactive list tomorrow. But I will go over the guys that I know that are for sure out. But you look at that, and if you're going to put Bryce in, why not? I mean, you got him on the team. Don't keep him inactive 2 games in a row, because then it starts to be like, well, what the hell did you pick him back up for if you're not going to use him? Like, that's just, I need I need this coaching staff to stop being so fickle and stop being so, what's the word I'm looking for? I be having brain farts, yeah. They just don't. They can't figure out what they're trying to do. And I don't understand it. It's like, you have an idea, like, why go out of your way to do something if you're not going to utilize it? That's like going to buy some shoes and never wear them. Or buy clothes and be like, oh, my clothes don't fit, but you still keep them. And they just sit there, and now you've wasted money, and now what you gonna do? So I mean, that's what it's like, and their decision making right now, I don't understand what it is. And Jerry's just been saying things out of his mouth. I don't know if it's because he's getting older, dementia, but he need to stop talking, because every time he says something, like, it's like, come on, dude, like, really? Like when he made a comparison to the Rams, and you look at the Rams, we are not the Rams, yo. Like, okay, maybe Gurley is kind of Ezekiel Elliott-esque, the way that they use him. Our defense is kind of similar to the Rams, but they still got more weapons. They got Michael Brockers. They got Ndamukong Suh. They got Aaron Donald out there. So, I mean, they have more household names out there than we do. Even with Aqib Talib on IR, they still out there beasting. So, I mean, no, we're not the Rams. You can't make that comparison. don't say it. Like, just say we're the Dallas Cowboys. We're not trying to be like anybody else. We're trying to find our own identity, which they hadn't found it yet. They want to be a running team, but you a lot of times pigeonhole yourself into being one-dimensional that way. So don't do that. Speaking of Ezekiel Elliott, he has 48 carries, 274 yards, a 5.7 average, and 2 touchdowns, which is not terrible for a couple of weeks, but we've seen him do much better than that by the time the 4th week of the season comes. This new guy that they had, well, this young guy that the Lions have, Kerryon Johnson, 29 carries, 161 yards, 5.6 average, no touchdowns. Now, he broke out last week, and he's been the Lions' first 100-yard rusher in a long time. And Lions have never been, they haven't, not since Barry Sanders, have they been good at running the ball consistently. Now, they're going to be looking to try to, balance it out with him. They have LeGarrette Blount now, so they're looking to balance out that their running game with Theo Reddick, LeGarrette Blount, and Kerryon Johnson. So they're going to use these 3 guys interchangeably. So to try to figure out what sticks. But I think that they'll probably use more Kerryon Johnson as their bell cow, kind of like how they did last week, because they want to see this young guy keep progressing, and that's what they do. Y'all remember when we played the Lions last year? They had the young white boy running back. Was it Zach Zenner? It was a bunch of Z's in his name. Zach Zenner. I just remember Phil Collins and all the analysts. Zach Zenner just running, but I don't even think he's on the team anymore. I don't know what happened to him, but he was actually doing good with them. Like he reminded me of Christian McCaffrey almost. Like he was a decent running back, even though he was undrafted and nobody knew who he was. It was weird, but it is what it is. Now, they were actually running him on us, and he scored 2 touchdowns that game, even though we won that Lions game. And that's because we were creative, and that was that game when Dez Bryant threw the touchdown pass to Jason Witten. See, you gotta do things like this to keep things popping. You gotta keep it fresh. You gotta keep it to the point where you can't figure out what I'm doing. You don't know my snap count. I'm going to switch it up so you don't know what's going on. As far as our receivers go, I don't know if Golden Tate's going to play for, their receivers. I don't know if Golden Tate's going to play for them this week. I know that on the report it shows that he's questionable. So I think that once the real inactive report comes an hour before the game tomorrow, we'll know exactly what's going on. But if Tate don't play, that's going to be a positive for us, because that's one less weapon that we have to worry about on their offense to try to counteract. So you look at what we have with our receivers right now, and it ain't looking too good in the stat category. You got Cole Beasley leading it with overall throughout the season. He has 12 catches for 132 yards. Deontay Thompson has 9 for 83. Tavon Austin has 5 for 81. You got to get Tavon Austin the ball. But Tavon has 2 touchdowns. But again, I've said this already in the last couple of videos. Tavon Austin, when Tavon Austin gets the ball, good things happen for the Dallas Cowboys. So if you know that it's working, keep doing it. Exploit it. Do it until they can't. Do it till they stop you, basically. And if they can't stop you, just keep killing them with it. Because at the end of the day, they're not gonna be able to stop it. Jeff Swain has 8 catches for 65 yards. Now, it almost seems like he's starting to try to be that safety blanket for Dak Prescott. But whoever it is, we need the safety blanket to step up and help Dak out. That way, those go-to plays when he's scrambling around and trying to figure it out, that's the person that you go to. They got to get Rico Gathers more involved. They got to get him downfield. They got to get him in the red zone. Get him doing the things that he's actually comfortable with. I don't know how many times I have to keep reiterating it. You got to get these guys involved, because if you don't, that's where your problem's going to lie at. So as far as the inactives right now, we know that Malik Collins is out with his injury. Sean Lee, Mr. Hamstrung, he's out a couple of games. We don't know exactly what his timetable is. And of course, Travis Frederick. I really don't have to name him because we already know what's going on with him. Key guys for Detroit, though. Ezekiel Anza, now one of their best pass rushers. He's not playing. He's got like a shoulder deal, I believe. And Michael Roberts is out as well. So when you look at the matchup with these two teams, you already know that Matt Stafford is a gunslinger. You know that he gets that ball out fast. And you have to stay poised and disciplined on defense. You got to stay in your lane. I say this all the time. Stay in your lane, stay disciplined, get to the quarterback. And as far as these ridiculous ass roughing the passer penalties, I don't know. Something got to change with that. Because you got these guys afraid to actually tackle. They're literally getting to the quarterback and just pushing them down. Because, you know, what else can you do? But like I said, if Terrence Williams doesn't play this week because of Lumen suspensions or whatever the deal is with him, they got to put Bryce Butler out there. That guy was Dak's favorite target last year, so utilize that. Utilize that and allow him to be that go-to person. You got to find something somewhere. Get Alan Hearns more involved. You see that he's frustrated. Because you don't want your players start to have a problem, because then it starts a riff in the locker room because this guy's feeling this way. This guy felt this way, but he didn't want to say it because he was afraid to say it, but he's actually thinking what this guy said. So he's going to come over here with this guy. And now you got the other side that's like, nah, Dak's cool. We just got to gain our rapport with him and do our thing. And you got these guys over here. And then all of a sudden, your receiver group is separated. And you don't want to do that. You cannot do that 4 games into the season, because stuff like that starts to happen. And I'm telling you, chemistry is one of the most important things in football to winning games. And it's not just the talent. It's that chemistry. You can put all-star players together. You can have a roster like how the Golden State Warriors have been having with their superstars. But if those guys can't work together, if they don't like each other, if they got different personalities and mentalities and they're like, nah, bro, I'm not down with that bull, it's not going to work. I mean, that's common sense. So I need this staff to nip that in the bud, like right now. Because once these players start tuning out, you lost them. And once you lose your players, you lose your season. I'm going to say it again. You lose your players' attention, you lose the season. And you can't win like that. And you can't function as a team like that because it's disorganized. Because players start thinking like, look, I'm gone. And I think a lot of that is what Orlando Scandrick's deal was. And because you can tell, like, even in All or Nothing, like I heard... I was watching it in the offseason, and you could hear like him saying like, "Oh, so we just gonna sit there and we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna keep running the same stupid stuff." And like that's why he asked to be released. He's like, "Man, I'm not gonna continue doing this. I can go somewhere else." But that's just how he felt. Now he's over there in Kansas City with Anthony Hitchens, and all they doing is winning right now. So it is what it is. But shout out to Kansas City. They doing a damn thing right now. And the young boy, Patrick Mahomes. One thing I'll say, I give credit where credit's due. You out here beasting, you doing a damn thing, you deserve the praise. And that's just what it is. So, keys to victory for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, 3 key things right now, and I'm looking at, is feed Zeke. Feed Zeke. You got to feed the boy. You got to feed him early and often. Again, every team knows that you're going to run the ball, but you got to show them that you ain't playing. You got to show them, like, look, you stop me. As it looks like the Lions, they give up on average 149.3 yards a game. Now, you have to, and on the ground game that is, and you have to exploit that. You see that the defense is not good at run defense. Oh yeah, run the hell out of the ball. You got a Pro Bowler back there. You got a young guy. You got a strong running back that can run the ball real well. That's shifty and has vision. Period. I think that they need to utilize the fullback more. Put the fullback in there, help block for Zeke, and just dig some of these linebackers out. That way, all that clog that's going on in there, it helps Zeke pop out to the holes and just get out. I mean, that's important, y'all. To me, I just look at it like you have to continuously change what you're doing every week. And again, I'm not seeing enough of change. Make change for change's sake, if nothing else, man, because it's just, as a fan, it's really frustrating to watch. It really is. Number 2, make it easier for Dak Prescott. And when I say make it easier, I mean this Lions defense, they may suck at the run defense, but their passing defense is really good. I mentioned the boy Slay. These guys are good cover. They have a decent front line. Ezekiel Ansah's not playing, so that's going to make them a little weaker on that front. But again, Dak needs to. Well, the Lions have not allowed more than 152 yards passing. Well, I guess it don't matter because Dak is barely getting 200 yards passing this year so far anyway. So it kind of just goes with what's going on. But Dallas Cowboys is one of those teams that, like, they really, like, surprise you. Like, you think that they're going to just stink it up, and all of a sudden they get all these touchdowns. And I don't think that we're going to be scoring 30, 38 points. I'm not going to even think about that until it actually happens. I got to see it before I can believe it. At that point, I'm not going to look stupid or feel dumb by trying to give them too much credit and then they just underwhelm, and I don't need that. So you look at what Dak needs to do. He needs to look for creative swing passes, provide space for yards after catch. I've said this before. When this team spreads out their offense, they are able to get these, because we have a lot of smaller receivers. So you get these guys space, they got that speed and they gone. You got to give them that opportunity. Swing the ball out to Tavon. Swing the ball out to Rod Smith. Swing the ball out to Zeke. Do some things to get this offense going. You did it with the Giants, and it worked. That 2-minute offense that we run, speed, no huddle, and everything that we're doing with Dak Prescott, that is his bread and butter. He likes that. He's good at that, and it seems like they get more production on offense when they speed things up. Now you can't do that all the time, but when the time is right, when you see that you're getting the defense on their heels, you got to step on that heel, man. And you got no mercy, yo. No mercy. None. So another thing too, when watching tape of these games too, Dak needs to step up in the pocket, period. He has to do a better job of stepping up in the pocket to make these accurate passes. I feel like if he steps up in the pocket and he gets his footing right, he can get that ball downfield. It's more of just him learning his reads. Dak Prescott has got to get better at his reads, because if he don't, he's not going to make it in this league too long. And you look at what we have this year, and it's almost like this is make or break for Dak. You either going to become a franchise quarterback, or you're going to be that forgotten guy that was a backup that became a starter but couldn't cut it in the NFL. And you don't want that label. You do not want that label, and it's not really a bust label, because he was never never considered a guy that that you could put a bust label on, because he was a 4th round draft pick. when you get a quarterback in the 4th round, it kind of is what it is. Tom Brady, to be picked as late as he was, you got to look at him as that's a rarity. You know, stuff like that don't happen. Again, that is important. Dak has to step into these throws, get that leverage he needs to get that ball to the player. You have to get that ball. You got to put that ball in places that the defensive guy can't get it. On these short underthrown passes is not going to work. You're going to get picked off every time. You are playing against NFL DBs, and they get paid too. So they do their job. Number 3, keep Detroit on their toes. What did I just say about when you get them on their heels? Step on it. You see an opening. You see a play that works, or a group of plays that work. Or when you start speeding up the offense, you see that it works. Get into a rhythm. Do that. Mix that in back with the run, because they're going to be tired from pass blocking. Pass defending. Then all of a sudden you throw Zeke in there. All of a sudden he done ran past them because they tired as hell. This is how you have to do these defenses. You got to keep them on the field so you can burn them. So that way, when your offense comes back on the field, they have more confidence and they can just get out there and do what they need to do and put more points on top of that. But it's all on Linehan. Linehan has to call the right plays. You were with the Lions. This is the 2nd week in a row we have a coach on our staff that was a coordinator for the team that we were playing this week. Chris Richard last week with the Seattle. Now you got Linehan with the Lions. So again, Linehan, you up, bro? I charge you to get into that playbook and stop messing around. I don't want to see no conservativeness. I don't need it. But again, keep Detroit on their toes. Right now, the Cowboys really have no depth in their offense, and it's dismal right now. You look at, I hate looking at stats all the time because, you know, sometimes stats don't always tell the true story, but these are clear-cut stats, and there's no way that you can skew these because it is what it is. We're just stalemated, and we got to do better on offense. You cannot allow the Lions to make you one-dimensional. Let me say that again. They cannot allow the Detroit Lions to make them one-dimensional. They know that you're going to run the ball. You got to mix it up. Dak has to be able to get these quick slants out to these guys and get some yards after catch. You got that with Cole Beasley. You got that with Deontay Thompson. And Allen Hurns can do it too. Hell, if Bryce Butler's active, get him on the deep post. Just throw the damn ball up. I made a comment. I was talking to the boys about this, and I said basically what Dak should do is go out there and just throw the ball deep. Whether it's an incomplete, long as it's not an interception, though. Even if you don't even complete the pass, throw it downfield, because what that tells the defense is, okay, so he's trying to take shots on us. Yeah, wake up back there and do your job. That's pretty much what it is. So I believe that Dak needs to do a lot of play fakes to sell the run in this game, because you sell the run and you pass out of that, oh, you're going to have some nice games. With these quick guys that we have on our offense, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna beast. Play action, bootlegs, all need to be in the game. Play action, bootlegs, screens, end arounds, jet sweeps, whatever term that you want to use for these things, because a lot of these things are kind of similar, but depending on what demographic you're in or what area you live in, the slang is a little different. So I just look at it like this. These are the keys that the Cowboys need to have if they're going to win this game. And if they don't, the Lions clearly are going to win, because on the Lions side, what the Lions are doing right now, they're going to try to run this ball because they like that young guy, Kerryon Johnson. I'm telling you, they're going to come out there. They're going to try to establish some dominance by running the ball. So what I think that the Cowboys need to do, and I don't know how many times I can reiterate this, defer the ball to the Lions. Let them start out on offense. Since your defense is good, Dallas, Let your guys come in there and eat. Let the defense eat. Let the guys come in there early, get a quick 3-and-out stop, and then that's when you put Dak in there on high horses and try to gain some momentum. Step on their throats. Go Cowboys. I don't know about a score. I would say 23-17. I'm going to keep it low. Dallas Cowboys. I think that the Cowboys do have a good chance of winning this game if they pay attention, if they play with discipline, and if they do some of these key things that I said on the offense, they will win this game. Now, if not, Lions will be, the Dallas Cowboys will be 1-3 in that case if that happens. So, again, you cannot allow yourself to play from behind. You got to start early, give Zeke the rock, let him eat, and let your defense eat, and you'll succeed. So with that being said, y'all, like, share, comment. Thanks again for all my subscribers. Yo, this is your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Go Cowboys. Let's go.